Welcome to this YouTube channel. In this video we will talk about antique beds. So before starting this video, like this video, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for future updates. Antique beds give romance and luxury to a bedroom that might otherwise be unremarkable. Of course, when you think of an antique bed you would think of a massive imposing Victorian bed. Consider a carved poster bed with a canopy and rope ties. Finally, antique brass beds with springs may come to mind, as something you've seen at your grandmother's house. There are a plethora of antique bed styles and varieties to choose from. So let's have a look at this fascinating topic in general. History of antique beds in colonial America. The earliest beds were frequently relatively modest in design. However, as time passed, more ornate bed forms emerged, eventually displacing the more crude designs. Thick posts with knobs along the side rails, head and footboard were common in antique rope beds. The knobs were used as poles to which thick rope was woven and attached, producing a hammock-like support for a hay straw or stuffed wool mattress. Antique poster bed. Of course, the four-poster bed was the most popular bed design among the wealthy. Aside from providing warmth and comfort, the four-poster bed served an additional purpose. For the elegant early colonial and post-colonial homes, elaborate carvings and heavy curtains, often made of embroidered and woven silks and exquisite materials, showed wealth and class. Early poster beds display a significant deal of creative variance due to regional differences. Simple turned columns with cannonball posts are common in New England beds. Curly maple and cherry from New England were sometimes used to decorate early beds. New England beds were once ornamented with paint embellishments and folk art. During the late 18th and early 19th centuries, designs like the rice-carved poster and pineapple poster became popular in refined southern bedrooms. Charleston beds became fashionable and regal in appearance, and were frequently built of imported Cuban mahogany. Acanthus carved poster beds and majestic reeded poster beds were also popular in Philadelphia at the time. Antique sleigh beds. The antique sleigh bed was originally an adaptation of a French Empire-style lit-en bateau. These gorgeous antique sleigh beds were made of sumptuous mahogany, typically embellished with brass ormolu and paw feet. While the antique sleigh bed is difficult to come by, we can see that it had a significant influence on 20th and 21st century beds, since its regal style shows no signs of fading. Victorian beds. In the late 1800s, artisans and craftsmen drew inspiration from the Renaissance and Gothic periods to create opulent, towering beds. The majority of Victorian beds have towering headboards with ornate carvings. Open fretwork motifs sometimes extend from the posts, or the center headboard pinnacle on vintage Victorian beds. Antique Victorian beds, of course, were designed to create a sense of drama. The half-tester bed was another popular choice in Victorian houses. These ornate beds were designed to look like early colonial beds with their canopy style. The canopy's ceiling, however, did not extend over the entire bed but only over the front half. Hence the name half-tester. The lucky owners must have had wonderful dreams in this lavish replica of an antique bed. Antique brass beds. When antique brass beds first appeared in America, in the mid-19th century, they were an instant hit. Many Americans were drawn to the robust brass which gleamed when fresh and the basic patterns. Delicate scrollwork, attractive cannonballs, and unusual designs were common features of the best examples. It can be difficult to find an antique brass bed in good condition today. Many of them have been tarnished over time and some have missing or damaged sections. They can be difficult to repair or replace, and many of them are small. If you have an old brass bed in good condition, treasure it. If kept in good shape, it might be worth something. French-style beds emerged in the shape of Art Nouveau and Art Deco styles, as the 20th century progressed, producing a gentler look in the bedroom. From the early 1900s to the 1920s, many beds had beautiful inlay motifs and curved footboards. Inlaid satinwood and rosewood can be seen in mahogany beds. Caning is sometimes used to embellish portions of headboards and curving footboards from this era. Antique dressing tables and antique dresses frequently complement antique beds from this era. The footboard and headboard are sometimes adorned with delicate embellishments. In general, early 20th century beds have a less extravagant appearance than earlier decades. Nonetheless, the sheer beauty and suppleness of these antique beds from this period were captured. Antique bed considerations. While antique beds of various ages have a lot of flair and charm, there are a few potential issues to be aware of. To begin with, most antique beds have unusual dimensions. Beds with unique dimensions were common before the introduction of conventional mattresses and king and queen sizes. The term 3/3 bed is frequently heard in the antique world. Slightly larger than a twin but not as long as a full or double, 3/4 beds measure roughly 50 inches broad by 70 inches long. A typical full is 54 inches broad by 74 inches long. As a result, you only have two options: buy a custom-sized mattress from a manufacturer, or try to alter the bed frame to fit a larger mattress. Some people opt for simply the headboard and pair it with a more contemporary bed frame. Another thing to think about when purchasing an antique bed frame is how solid and powerful it appears to be. Antique beds can acquire loose joints as a result of heavy use and weight over time. So before you buy an antique bed, make sure you inspect every aspect of it. There could be a reason why the bed isn't constructed in the store. That's all there is to it. This is a very basic review of antique beds. Hopefully it will serve as a starting point for your search for the ideal bed. What do you think about this video? Do let us know down in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video and want to hear from us again, be sure to hit that subscribe button before you go.